Pegasus may have helped you escape the Shadow Realm once before. Never again! Pegasus, I sense that you're watching. Consider this a warning. Nothing you send against me will stop me. And when we finally duel, believe me, victory will be mine. I'll win back my grandfather's soul, and you will pay for all the people you've hurt in the name of your sick little game. I'm coming for you, Pegasus.
We're tourists now.
So are they.
Yugi, over here!
Hey, it's Merrick! What's up? Long time no see, guys.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. Where do we begin?
Well, let's start with lunch. How are the burger joints out here?
May I speak with the Pharaoh? My king, welcome. You've finally come home. You have quite a long journey ahead, and we're so honored to be your guides.
Please, the pleasure's mine.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Yugioh proves that God is real. Pharaoh Atem technically wasn't supposed to be Pharaoh, but Seto. Seto is Pharaoh by blood, but Atem has the real power. The same thing with King David from the Bible. By blood, Jonathan was supposed to be king, but God chose David. There's so many messages, there's so many connections of the Bible and the events of the Bible in anime, movies, and books. It's not even funny. If you examine this character Yugi, he is humble and meek. The alter ego that he has of being a great king represent King David, because he was a humble shepherd. But God raised him to be a mighty, powerful king. God likes to use people that are weak or humble, or people that you wouldn't think twice about. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. In the anime, Yugi or Atom keeps saying to trust in the heart of the cards. That one card that you think won't mess you up is the one card that will make you lose because you underestimated it. Trust in the heart of the cards. 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. In the Bible, God told Samuel to anoint one of the brothers from the house of Jesse. Out of all the brothers, God chose the youngest. And that is why the Lord said, don't look on the countenance or the height of his brothers, because because he refused them. The Lord seeth not what the man sees. The man look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Just like in the show, Yugi is a short guy, but the king in him is his power. because it reflects from his heart. It is a reflection from his heart. In the anime and in the manga, Yugioh is really humble, just like how David was a humble shepherd. Matthew chapter 5 verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Just like the story of Joseph. He ends up ruling Egypt. First, he was a humble shepherd on his father's land in Canaan. He had humble origins. In Yu-Gi-Oh, Seto is meant to be Pharaoh. But the true ruler of Egypt is Atum because of his heart. Just like back then in Japan, you had the shogun and emperor. The shogun has the power and technically the ruler, but the emperor was Japan's role model or symbol as the head of state. Yu-Gi-Oh proves that God is real. In the Bible, the Pharaoh gave Joseph a position of power in Egypt because Joseph had correctly interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. God gave Joseph the ability to interpret the king's dreams and the wisdom to recommend a course of action, thus saving the whole land of Egypt. Joseph's proposal seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials, so Pharaoh asked them, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." Truly, Joseph was the ruler of Egypt. Pharaoh believed that Joseph had spiritual power that would benefit his country. Not only did he have visions, but he also could interpret dreams. Spiritual powers were taken very seriously in Egypt during this time, and Pharaoh made Joseph to be his second in command. This is the third time in the book of Genesis account that Joseph's spiritual life is appealing to non-believers. None of the Egyptian gods could help even the Ra and Horus and Isis gods, which are actually demons of Egypt. I can testify that God is the ultimate power, and all false gods from Satan are nothing in comparison. As it is written, all power belongs to God, and who God is for, no one can stand against you. Yu-Gi-Oh proves that God is real. When I started to pick up my cross in Jesus Christ, my life of this world was slowly vanishing. I had the most beautiful girlfriend in the world. If you were to saw her, your jaw would drop. I kid you not. But I started to believe in Jesus Christ, and that was the beginning of our relationship falling apart. She had idols, the same idols in Egypt, in our home. I was a Christian, she was not. The idols that I threw away were all Egyptian items that I could not stand. For as it is written, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. What agreement is there between the temple of God and idols? For we are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will live with them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. She had a golden Egyptian ankh with the Baphomet god on top of it. And she had other idols that I could not stand. Subconsciously and consciously, I threw away her idols. And that enraged my ex-girlfriend. That was the very beginning of us breaking up. Because the Lord was separating who belongs to him. Eventually, this breakup caused me to be homeless, losing everything I ever had because I decided to side with God. The reason why I share this story is because the Lord wants a true relationship with you, and he wants to be your only God. During my past sufferings of being changed to a lower state because I didn't have anything, in order to get warm, I had to use my coat as covers for my body. Sleeping in my very coat, I folded in my arms like a mummy. I had my arms positioned as if I was a dead mummy. I had to sleep like this to keep my arms from freezing. That was how I slept. I went through so much suffering. Even now I'm used to sleeping like this. I still sleep like this sometimes. When I was at this principality, I was dealing with dying to the world. Colossians chapter 3 verse 3. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. Even though I had hard times, God was showing me that he is the one true God, not the pagan gods of Egypt that my ex-girlfriend was into. God is the Son, and all power belongs to him. During this trial of my homelessness and suffering, I had been reborn in him and was given the gift of the light of the body. Luke chapter 11 verse 34. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, thy whole body also is full of light. But when thy eye is evil, thy body also is full of darkness. Whenever I am outside, I see this spiritual gift. Whenever I blink, I see this powerful single light, similar to the third eye chakra. Jesus Christ is my light. John chapter 8 verse 12. When Jesus spoke to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. This is similar to Yugioh's power. The light of the body is the eye. I can testify of this. I never had this before. I did not have this before I was reborn in the Lord. The pyramids represent the Jews that were slaves in ancient Egypt, God's chosen people. Without the men and women of God, this Bible would not exist. And in this show, Yugioh, there are many messages from this word, because what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. All praises to the Most High and Jesus Christ forever and ever. He is Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And he is the light of the world. He is the Son of righteousness. And he is the one true only God. Yugioh, proves that God is real.